Hi, everyone, and welcome to Book Club with Bay. I am Bay, and this is Bay. Say hi, Bay.
Hi, Bay.
And today we're talking about Fade Out by Rachel Caine, the seventh. Is this the seventh book? Seventh book in the Morganville Vampire series. So, we are no longer in the apocalypse.
What did you think? I'm actually just going to have a quick look, right? Because I have a vague idea of when the next, seasonal storyline, I guess, starts. I think we get a few books in a row where nothing, where there's no, extension outside of that one book.
Yeah.
So we just did 7. Unfortunately, all of the short stories are listed on Goodreads as well, so it's just a pain. Yeah, so next is Kiss of Death.
Yeah.
Then we have Ghost Town. Then we have Bike Club. Then it's Last Breath. Last Breath is the first book of the next serial arc.
Okay.
Thing.
So from memory, I know that I own Kiss of Death. I don't believe I've read it. Maybe I have. I don't remember it. Okay. This is the last book I remember reading, so I'll put it that way. I will say, the last book I know for sure that I read. Do I remember anything that happened in it? No. It's so when we were reading the last 6 books, there were times where it would be like a line would happen, and I would be like, oh, a core memory, and then in this book that didn't happen. But I know I've read it. It just didn't happen at all this book.
Okay, so Kiss of Death is the road trip book.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I know I didn't read it. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what happened. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, of course, dear me. Yeah.
My next book. Spoiler alert, we're going to be leaving Morganville next book.
Okay, fun.
I'm pretty sure that's in
Although
it's in the blurb, so it's fine.
Although I remember Shane and Claire blinking in the car at some point outside of Morganville.
So maybe you have read next book. They didn't boink. They made out.
They made out, and then they got knocked, and then a cop is like, "Hey,
you young scallywags, you're under arrest and shit."
Yeah. Okay, so maybe I have. Maybe I have read it. Yeah. Okay. Because honestly, I genuinely thought that was how they. I genuinely thought that was when they boinked for the first time. So when they boinked for the first time and they were not in a car getting yelled at by a cop, I was confused.
Yeah, they don't even have sex. They make out. That's it.
Okay, so if that's not and then after that, at this point, I thought I made that up. So if they didn't make that up, then I have read the next book. But all I remember probably is car half boink. So as you can see, what I was focused on as a 12-year-old was, because I started reading books when I was 11, was Claire and Shane. So I don't know if I've ever told the story, but how I got into reading was that in 6th grade, I can't remember why. I was acting out and I stopped doing my homework for all my classes. I was doing fine in my classes, but I just stopped doing my homework like a jerk, and I got in big trouble. And so my parents took all my things away except for books. And so then I started reading.
Yeah.
Because my parents took all my stuff away, but I actually didn't have books. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do? And they were like, well, you can read. We'll take you to Barnes and Noble. And I was like, okay. So I got a couple Morganville books. I got some Vampire Kisses books and stuff like that. And it turns out I liked reading. And it turns out I really liked reading. And then they were like, shit. Because
What did we do?
then, like, they never gave me any of my stuff back. All the stuff they took away is still in the attic because I never wanted it back. Because I was happy enough just reading and not doing anything else. So their brilliant punishment turned into, like, me discovering a passion for reading and, like, urban fantasy and stuff like that. And I remember distinctly in, like, 7th grade picking up Moon Called.
Yeah.
And hating it.
Well, you know what? Fair though.
And being like, this book is shit.
You definitely, like, there's probably a lot of books that if we had picked up at a specific age, we would have gone, fuck no.
Yeah, because it, well, yeah, it's above your, it's definitely like above your head at that level. Because
well, plus also, like, Mercy has completely different priorities to a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She's a 33-year-old woman.
Yeah, so it's like when you pick it up when you're like 21, like, no, I'm not 33, but like you actually start to be able to relate to it. And like, especially for me, I think Mercy sticks out as a really amazing protagonist for me anyway. Or a really relatable protagonist for me anyway, because I'm a history major and stuff like that. And when I first started reading Mercy Thompson, I wasn't. But now that I'm a history major, when I reread the books, there are tons of references that Patricia Briggs makes in the books from like when it's a Mercy book that I never caught before, because they're really specific niche history stuff that I'm like, oh, like when she's in Prague and she talks about the murder window that I like. And I read Silence Fallen, and I didn't pick it up the first time. And then we talked about it in class, and I was like, I want to get engaged under the murder window. And then I reread Silence Fallen, and she was like, oh, yeah, the murder window. And I was like, oh, the murder window.
You're a doofus.
I know, I'm the doofus. It's not important. But
anyway. I just got to mute you for 1 sec.
Okay. But in any case, it's one of like the good things that the authors do with their protagonists is if you can like convince your reader if like that they actually have passions about something. Because if I, as somebody who's really into history or is getting a history degree, believes that Mercy has one, you know, that's like, then you've done a good job. But you know, and I believe that Claire's like a nerd. Sometimes Rachel Kane flubs the references a little bit. I'm still bitter about the inequalities thing, in calculus too, but still linear inequalities in calculus too. Okay. But I believe she's trying.
Yeah. Like, and like she does it. She, like, that aside, right? That little goof aside, she explained, like, she, for lack of a better term, name drops or term drops enough for you to be like, yeah, that sounds like a thing that is physics related. And if you looked it up, it would be.
I know enough about math that like most of it is correct. And the other thing too is that like Claire in this book says like, I had to take history classes and fuck that. And something I like about Claire is that she has opinions like that.
Yeah.
You know, she's not just like, I was in history class. She's like, I was in history class and fuck that noise. Am I offended? Yes. But I'm okay that I'm offended. Because, and I think that's something like writing advice from book club with Bay. Be okay with doing that. Be okay with like saying, I was in history class and fuck that noise.
Yeah, well, especially considering she's a physics major and it's not just like, you know, like, yeah, I'm good at physics. She's obsessed, like full blown obsessed with physics. And she's like, why do I have to do a history class if I'm doing physics? Like, kind of doesn't mean jack shit. And if I need to know anything about history, I'll just ask Mernon.
Yeah.
Because we do also get a couple of things occasionally where Claire does actually show an interest in history. It's just more, she wants to know more, like, she's like narrow focused. Like, she wants to know something about someone specifically.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Also, in this book, I don't know if you like checked, but like when Oliver was doing his like little interview thing, and he was like, I was born in blah, 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 and I was turned in blah, 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 and I was like in this year, and I was born in this location and stuff, all consistent with Oliver Cromwell.
I did notice that.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. As soon as you mentioned it, I paused and like went back, and I was like, okay, Oliver Cromwell. Like, yep, Huntington. Yep. Okay, good job.
I was proud of myself because I didn't have to look up the years, and I was like, I'm not going to name the professor, but I was like, he would be proud of me. Because I didn't do well on that test. The thing is, like, I suck at test taking, and this professor is one of my favorite professors, but I like multiple choice tests are not my thing. I'm very bad at them. I don't know why, but I suck at them. I'm just not good at regurgitating information like that. I'm much better at like essay based tests, which I know most people are not, but I am. But yeah, but
I am, as long as I keep myself in check, because I go like, I overwrite them sometimes if I don't if I don't watch myself.
Yeah. Well, there was one professor we had that, like, it was essay-based tests, but we, at least most of us, except for Fancy Pants over there, sucked at the tests. And most of us were like failing the class based on the tests. But we turned in our papers and we did really good papers. And then he took us out for drinks after, because it was our Byzantine class. He was from Turkey, and that's what they do in Europe. And he was talking to us about the class, and we were like all so into this class. Like, we were so excited about it. And I guess he realized like we had actually absorbed information, even though we couldn't regurgitate it properly in test form. But like he like curved everybody 2 letter grades.
Oh, nice.
Because we'd like basically regurgitated everything to him. Like,
he made him believe.
Yeah, like after a shot, we all regurgitated everything to him in like such an excited fashion that he was like, oh, okay, you did learn.
Yeah, I'm sure it actually made him feel better as well, because it's probably just like, why did no one like my class?
And we did. We loved it. We were so excited. Like the last day was funny because it was, it was Byzantine Empire, and so we were all like, it's coming. We're going to talk about the fall of Constantinople today, and we don't want to talk about it. We're not excited. We don't want to talk about the fall of Constantinople. So it was very grim. We all sat down and we were like, okay, tell us what happened. Because nobody looked up spoilers. We're like, nobody look up spoilers. We don't want to know. Because we knew like vaguely, like you don't go, you're not a history major without vaguely knowing. But we're like, nobody look up spoilers. Don't ruin it. It was a thing. Anyway, so plot. We left off with like Sam's dead.
Sam's dead.
Bishop has been
neutralized.
He's not dead, but he's
neutralized.
And Morganville's back to normal-ish. And Emily has
with changes. So the status quo changed.
We've promised that we're going to be nice to the humans.
Yes.
And all that fun stuff. So,
that's where we're at.
Yeah, Claire's still living with her parents.
Yeah. Only technically. Like, she's barely there.
Yeah, we never really see her there, but
yeah, she's technically still living with her parents, but she spends most of her awake time either at school or at the glass house.
Yeah.
And Shane has a job now.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he's growing up. Our little baby's growing up. He works at a barbecue joint. I don't know what he does. I know he uses sharp knives and cuts meat for barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all the information we get about his job from here to the end of the series. He uses a sharp knife and there's barbecue involved. And we're actually acknowledging that, like, you know, Ada got brought up last book, and yeah, no, she's actually a proper thing this book. I honestly, from every time I reread, I forget how short a period Ada is actually in the series. She's in it for 2 books.
Yeah.
Because that last book was the first actual mention of her, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that she was a thing.
Yeah, like, because she gets mentioned a lot throughout the rest of the series and stuff. Like, she's still present to an extent, but she's not actually
there.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's about it for, you know, previously on Morganville.
Yeah.
So where does the plot start? How do we start the book? I always forget where the book starts.
I always forget too.
Give me a second. I'll bring it up because I'll open up my actual copy of it. I really should do this in advance. Remind me next time, okay? Ebooks. Morganville. Where are you? I've lost it, babe. No.
Well, that's not what I wanted.
No, I'll find it. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Rachel Kane, there you are. Okay, and this was Fade Out. Open with books. Okay, here we go. Where do we start? We are...
I used to take notes.
Oh, yeah, we get... Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's the little introduction. Welcome to Morganville. You never want to leave. So, you're new to Morganville. I like how she does have like that little intro thing.
Yeah, we started doing prefaces for Blackwoods. I'm pretty sure it's preface if it's a verb, and preface if it's a noun.
I use preface for both. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Either way, preface for a noun sounds better in my brain, so that's how I say it. But either way, we started doing that for Blackwoods because The Outcast of Asmar is really fucking long. At least it's the longest book I've ever written. It's almost 200,000 words. So we were like...
Well, I know there's a lot of story to be told. I know it's as long as it needs to be. I get it.
As long as it needs to be. The next book is not anywhere near that long. So it's like the first book is a novella. The second book is 100,000 words. The third book is 200,000. Then the third is 100,000 again. And then the fourth is going to be another big chungus. And then
they're as long as they need to be.
Yeah. It's like, what can I say? You know?
Yeah. Okay, I got it. Eve's jumping up and down, screaming for joy like a little goth bunny. Sorry, yes, like a demented
goth bunny. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So Eve is a demented goth bunny because she got accepted to be a ballerina.
She's playing Blanche in what's the name of the play? Where is it? Streetcar Named Desire. She's playing Blanche.
All right. So I actually have a little bit of praise here for this part. So initially I was like, well, it's never been mentioned that she likes this. but that's kind of the point, because this is, so there's third person, like, so a little bit of writing stuff just to explain this. There's third person where the narrator is omnipotent and the narrator knows things that the characters do not know. Which is kind of how Blackwoods is. Because we character hop sometimes within scenes, but we'll like keep it limited and we'll be careful of how we do it. But, you know, we're never really constrained to a specific character. So the narration knows shit that the characters don't. Then there's third person limited. And this can be where we, between chapters or between little scene breaks, switch heads or whatever. But either way, wherever we are, you're only within the head of a specific character, and opinionated time. At that point, I'm like, just write in first person. But anyway.
Yeah, like, well, this series is effectively first person in third person.
Yeah. So we never know things that Claire doesn't know. And so if Eve has never talked about it to Claire, we don't know either.
Yeah. Well, plus also, we also have, like, there's, you know, it's been a time since the last book. Before that, there was like 3 months between books as well. So we're not with Claire every second of every day, House of Night, which is also how a book should be, unless it's something where, like, you know, it's happening in a short period of time, like a very short period of time, where you need to be with your protagonist every second of their day. I guess that would be like a mystery or something, you know, usually that kind of book, you're with them every second of the day. But with Claire, like, you know, she skips through her days. She's like, we hung out, we did a chatty chat, and then we went to bed.
Well, like, so rereading some of the Mercy books, rereading the Mercy books, there will be times where, you know, you'll go through half the book and you'll notice suddenly, like, it's been one day. Like, we started this day, like Bloodbound. You start like that day at 4 a.m. and you go through that whole day, and that's half the book. But then you skip weeks. So sometimes, like, things happen, like, and it's just all packed together or whatever. And like sometimes that happens. You know, and it just is what it is. But
yeah, but like also with Claire as well, they're like, Claire wasn't, like, I guess, unsurprised that Eve got this role as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm guessing that. Well, I mean, she wasn't like, oh my god, like, she's like, oh yeah, I could see it, I guess, but she wasn't like, how was your audition? It was like, oh, what are you so excited about? Well, congratulations, I didn't know you did an audition. So yeah, Eve obviously hasn't mentioned it to her.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and with Eve specifically, there's going to be at least one more thing that just randomly pops up that she's skilled in, because we learned that she has been auditioning for the town play for years, and we learned that she used to do ballet, but Shane didn't even know that she used to do ballet. So, and they've been friends for years.
Yeah.
So
I will be right back. So
okay.
Continue.
Okay. So yeah, Eve is playing Blanche in Streetcar. She apparently, I don't know if it gets mentioned in this scene or not, but apparently, like, yeah, they're wanting to, like, mix it up a little bit and have, like, the two leading ladies be goth. And then it's time for Claire to go to work. So, because Mernan's lab was completely and utterly annihilated by Bishop. So like she hasn't been to work for a month, and it's her first day back at work. And I need to wait for Bay to get back for this bit because Vernon's freaking adorable. Like he's really excited about his lab reopening, and I more or less just love every scene that has Vernon in it because he's a doofus. He's not sick anymore, but he's not sane either. He's still I think from memory, Rachel Kane's like based his personality off of someone she knows who is quite bipolar. So yeah, Vernon is still going to have his mood swings and stuff. Like his character doesn't change much. He's just a bit less completely unstable in the rest of the series now. But he's still the Vernon that we met. But yeah, he's all excited about the grand reopening of the lab, and she rocks up and he's wearing like bunny slippers, and this ends up becoming a trope because she mentions to him in this scene that she's surprised he didn't get the bunny slippers with fangs, and then he finds them, and for the rest of this series, they're his shoe of choice. But yeah, so he tells Claire her job for today is to go through his storage boxes, and she's going through. She finds some stuff like a letter from Emily about when she founded Morganville. She finds a necklace with Ada's silhouette, because Ada, the computer, has the brain of his former lab assistant, who he turned into a vampire, who was Ada Lovelace, which was the first computer programmer like a century before computers were even a thing. And yeah, her brain is now in a jar in a computer, and she runs the town. But then Claire opens a box, and she finds a spider, and Vernon's like, "Oh, look, a pet!" And he names him Bob. So now Vernon has a pet spider named Bob, and Bob is not going to go away. He is in it for the rest of the series too, or a good chunk of the rest of the series. But then Claire opens a box, and it exploded, and she wakes up, and Theo Goldman is checking her out. He's the doctor, the vampire doctor, and it looks like it was like a sunlight bomb, for lack of a better term. Michael's there as well, I think. And yeah, so Claire just looks like her face, she laid out in the middle of summer, just face up for like about 5 hours straight with no sunscreen. So,
hey, sorry.
That's okay. Talking about got up to Claire white bomb exploding.
Yes. So yeah, she gets exploded. But not really.
What do you think about Bob? The spider.
Oh yeah. It was
but Bob's in future books. I think he's in even if he's not actively in the books, like Vernon has him, I believe, until the end of the series.
He's his pet spider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Vernon's pet spider.
Nope.
Yeah, well, that's Claire's reaction, but he ends up like growing on Claire a bit.
That's
just
funny.
like, he's kind of cute for a creepy little thing. Which, like, to be fair, like, I imagine, like, if you ended up having to have some like pet that you're just like over, like, I think eventually you'd be like, look, I'm kind of fond of it. I'm kind of fond. But yeah, her face is just like cherry red, and she ain't happy. I would not be happy either. And she's like, why is there a bomb in here? It's like, maybe someone sent it to me. It's like, maybe I sent it to myself. I don't know. How the hell am I supposed to know why there's a bomb in my stuff, Claire? So she's not happy.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I also would not be happy. I would be none of the happy.
Yeah, she's really pissed off about it, which, like, who can blame her, you know? I get, because Merton obviously has no answers. Nothing helpful anyway.
Yeah, he's just like, look, it was a thing, and now it was there, and now it's not, and I don't know what you want from me, Claire.
So
and it's like, Merton, you're a dick. You're a dick, Merton.
Yes. That's not water. Don't drink your vape juice.
You know, don't do that. That's not wise. Oh. Sorry. Eyes. Okay, I'm good. So then, yeah, they go back to the glass house, and
from there, they're getting her cleaned up and everything, and then all of a sudden, Claire is like, it basically, from the sounds of it, it's like when your blood sugar drops really low, and like suddenly,
like, she gets really cold, and
she gets really cold. She's getting like the sweats and the shivers, and I was like, oh, Claire, go put I was like, Claire, what you need is like some cold, like, ice water on your skin, and you need to sit down.
Yeah,
I was like, I know exactly what to do for this.
Yeah, well, because Claire initially thought it was like the house doing one of its warning things, and I thought, no, Claire, it's obviously your sunburn, because like I remember when I've been really badly sunburned, like I've gotten the shivers, especially if it's in a localized part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
You get the shivers, and hers is localized to her face.
Yeah, so
but it wasn't that either.
Well, because at first my brain, and it's just because this is something that happens to me occasionally. If your blood sugar suddenly drops really low, it can also drop your blood pressure, which is unfun, but it can happen. And you just kind of have to know exactly what to do to, like, make yourself not feel like you're about to pass out. And so I was like, well, here's clearly what you should do, but also it's just not what was happening. So then,
I don't know how they realized.
Those are the symptoms. Her bracelet was doing a bad.
Oh yeah, her bracelet, so her, like, effectively her slave collar for her wrist, was like ice cold, and they're like,
bracelet. To be fair,
yeah. Well, I was, you know what I was doing. Shut up.
Slavery is
so they're like,
bad.
oh, yeah, yes. Even consensual slavery is bad, because Claire's a consensual. Like, she signed the contract. She did it.
Is it really consensual though?
Well, it was do this or you die.
Well, that's not consensual.
So,
that's not consent.
No, yeah, coerced slavery.
That's not consent.
No, it's coercion.
Because, like, for example, if this was a rape case and somebody held a gun to your head and was like, have sex with me or I will shoot you, you've raped someone.
Yeah. Yes.
So
okay, fine. Coercive slavery is also not good. Because I guess in the terms, I think she gets paid, so I guess she's more like an indentured servant.
I don't know.
That's also not good, though. Indentured servitude is also not good.
Don't go to Morgan.
None of it's good. Okay? Okay, none of it's good. Everything has to be consensual and well paid. Okay? It's fine. They're like, oh crap, something's wrong with Emily. And I guess like Claire's bracelet was like doing a tracky track thing. She's like, she's at the graveyard. So then they go to the graveyard and Emily's there and she's like, leave me alone. And it's just like, you're being really melodramatic right now and you're really hurting Claire. And Emily's like, shut up. And then it's like, oh my God, you're a suicidal bitch. Because Emily had slit her wrist and put silver coins in her wrist to stop the wounds from healing so she could bleed out and die. I'm like, I feel like there's probably an easier way to suicide. But Emily was at Sam's grave trying to suicide. And they're like, well, you're going to kill Claire too. And Emily's like, oh, well, I guess that's not good. I guess I will let you save me. So Eve is like, pluck, 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 and plucks the coins and does a thing. And then they go to leave to take her to the blood bank because, you know, she just lost half her blood. And Wild Morley appears. I love Molly. He's so gross. But he comes back in further books. In more books. But Molly is like the king of the street urchin vampires, I guess. And he's like, Emily, I shall do a killy kill. And she's like, mwahaha, no you won't. And he's like, mwahaha, yes I will. And then she's like, attack everyone. And then Oliver's like, mwahaha, I knocked them all out. There's lots of mwahahaing in this scene. And then Oliver's like, you should get her to the blood bank. And they're like, okay. So they take her to the blood bank. He's just like, I am ashamed that you saw me at my weakest moments. Please do not mention it again. And they're like, okay. Please don't kill us. And so yeah, she goes in. They're like, well, that wasn't good. They take Claire home to her parents' house. Because you know, she's been through a lot today. She's been through a lot today as well. Like she's like barely conscious. It's been a big day for Claire Bear. And I can't remember what happens next. She wakes up and she's like, oh, great. I'm all blistered and stuff. And then Mother gets to do a yell at her for, like, being sunburnt. Because, like, obviously Claire can't tell her mother.
Yeah. It's actually funny because because her mom's like, what have you done? And Claire's like, oh, I, like, took a nap in the sun. And she's like, you know not to do that. You're going to get skin cancer. And Claire's like, yeah, okay. Sorry,
Mom. Wait, do that again.
Yeah, she's like, oh no, skin cancer, and that's when happened.
Yeah, so then she has to walk to school. She has to walk to school with like the worst sunburnt face ever.
I would like to think that if I lived in a town of vampires and my child came home like burnt, and they told me they fell asleep in the sun, I wouldn't be like, well, obviously.
Especially when you know your child works for Mernon. I was like, wasn't your first day at work back at work with Mernon yesterday? That's a nice coincidence, Claire.
Yeah.
It's a really nice coincidence.
Yeah, like the idea that Claire would take a nap while studying.
Yeah. But Mom, I think Mom just chooses to, because like their parents don't have names, they're Mom and Dad. So that's what we have to call them. But Mom is just like, I think she just wants to believe the normal human option. And then Claire's walking to school and Wild Monica and Gina and Jennifer appear. And not going to lie, I was like, I don't recall Claire getting kidnapped this book by Monica. Because it's a common thing. Like, What? I think she got kidnapped by Monica like 3 or 4 times in the first 2 books.
Yeah.
But no, Monica's like, look, I need you to like tutor me in economics, and so they set up a tutor date, I guess.
Yeah, fortunately, the kidnapping is slowed down.
Yes.
Slowed down.
Well, she gets kidnapped. She got kidnapped last book. She gets kidnapped this book, just by different people.
But by Monica.
Yeah, true. I mean, like this book, she gets kidnapped by a freaking computer.
Okay. That's not what I was praising. I was saying
the Monica kidnapping is slowed down.
Monica kidnapping is slowed down. Okay, but look, Claire getting kidnapped is like, for whatever reason, the only plot point we ever have, and that's all I got. And if it's not Claire getting kidnapped, it's somebody else getting kidnapped.
Yeah. Also,
usually the only problem we have to solve, like.
Yeah. And then Cleve texts. I just said Cleve. Eve calls Claire. Claire's in class, so she's like, meh. And then she wrote a thing, and it's like, I see for in class. It was their standard code. And then Eve texted CG, ASAP, OMG. I'm like, okay, yeah. 2 out of 4 of those things are like in codes. ASAP and OMG and doesn't make you special, Claire. But also, I would be really annoyed though if I tried to call you and you texted me like I see, or if you wanted me to meet you somewhere and you were like CG, I'd be like, can you just use the words? Can you just use the words, bae? Like, could you imagine if I just say you and I lived in the vicinity of each other, right? And I wanted you to meet me at Common Grounds, and I texted you saying CG, ASAP, OMG. I feel like it would be just for you to just be like, you know what, I'm going to pretend I didn't read that text because you don't deserve a response.
In fairness, we are not okay. You know what's weird?
I probably did abbreviate more when I was in high school, I guess.
It is weird because the whole COVID thing has made me feel like I'm not aging. Does that make sense though?
Yeah.
I'm about to turn 24. I don't feel like 23 happened.
Yeah.
So
I don't feel like my last birthday happened.
Yeah, so I feel like I've just lost an entire year. So feeling like I'm this much older than like 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds feels very bizarre to me. Because I still feel like I'm 22 because I don't feel like I turned 23, and I don't feel like I went through an entire year being 23, and I'm now about to be 24. It's very bizarre. And so if I lose a whole nother year to COVID, I'm gonna be so cranky. Because I'm like, this is not working for me. I saw like a thing on TikTok that was like, if I lose another, like, if I keep losing my 20s to this, I'm gonna wind up at like crashing my kids' like house parties in college, and I'm like, it could happen.
Don't be that mom. Don't do it.
More than likely, what it would be is just like 50-year-olds like, we lost our 20s, we have to keep having house parties, just like rocking in corners. Like, we can still do shots.
Oh God, I'm not gonna lie. Is there anything more pathetic than that visual? Is there a group of 50-year-olds like doing shots? Saying no. We're still cool. We can still party.
But it's true though. Like, I'm just saying.
I mean, there will come a like you're still at a point where you can still behave like in your early to mid 20s because you're in your early to mid 20s and it's fine, right? But there comes a point where you just need like I'm not really interested in doing like drinking the way I used to and stuff like that. But like there's sometimes I'm like, I really want to go out. I'm like, I need to not be silly though, because there's nothing more pathetic than someone older trying to act like they're 18. Or I guess where you are 21.
Well, like the problem is that, like, you know, I'm about to turn 24.
You're fine still. You can still go out and drink and do stupid stuff because you're 23 about to turn 24. It's fine. It's acceptable.
But also, like, the amount of time I have left to do it is so limited. Like, it's getting narrower. And also, like, my desire to do it is starting to, like, dwindle a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? Because now
I feel like once you move... Well, also, once you have now also hit the first life-changing thing that is going to start diminishing your interest in stuff. And I feel like it's like when you get serious enough to live with someone, you start to be like, what's the point of behaving like a child when I'm adulting with a partner?
Yeah. Because I'm like, you know, like if it's really weird because I'm like, I could go out, but then I'd be like, because, you know, also the older you get, the more annoying hangovers are.
Yes.
And so, like, and I know that because it was very weird. Like, our 21st birthdays were so much fun, and then our 22nd birthdays, we were all like, why does it hurt?
I will say as well that I have not had a hangover since I was 19, and I do not aim to break that record.
Every time I've had a hangover, it's been because I haven't drank enough water while I was drinking.
My last 3 or 4 hangovers was because I drank cheap tequila. Like, you know, I don't know if you guys have it there, but like the tequila, like with the little sombrero as a lid.
Mm-mm.
I can't even remember.
Jose Cuervo and Jose Cuervo, not the Jose Cuervo.
No.
You up.
Jose Cuervo is divine compared to this stuff. It is like it is top-notch high class compared to this stuff. Tequila with some Ferrero cap. There we go. Sierra. I'm
not sure if we have it.
I am going to show you what this thing looks like. I've only had the the clear one of this. I haven't had the brown tequila, so I don't know if that's better. But let's share my application window. Let's share you.
Okay.
Don't touch this stuff. Never, ever, ever. Ever, ever, ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Noted. Got it.
Okay.
I won't.
I say it because I love you.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just like the older I get, the more I'm just like, I don't know if I want to go clubbing anywhere. It's just like, it's a lot. And then you're out late. And then you have to like that. And I'm like, oh no, I'm getting old.
Yeah, no, how did we get to that? Oh, we're talking about the abbreviations. These youngins and their stupid abbreviations.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a natural consequence of aging that you stop wanting to rape the English language on a daily basis in your text messages as you age as well.
Yeah.
Unless you started texting in like your 60s or 70s, because then you think it's fun to add, like, to try and do all the little shortening of stuff, and then add a million, or maybe this is just my nan, I don't know. But then she also adds like about 10 random emojis to the end of every text message. She'll just like she'll text and she'll be like, "Oh, see you soon," and then there'll be like a parrot, a butterfly, a rainbow. like a heart, and then like the little party horn or something. And I'm just like, I don't know what that means. Like, they're there for a reason, not just to do like a string of shit that has no meaning to anything. I'll see if I can I'll actually find a screenshot and send it to you so you can understand. Okay, here's one.
Boomers are just bad at texting in general.
Yeah,
but
I didn't even have to scroll. Didn't even have to scroll up. Okay? Didn't even have to look. I opened the conversation and there it was. This one only has 4, but you get the point. So this one has praying hands, a butterfly, a parrot, and a teddy bear.
I do also love that she's addressing your daughter as if she's texting her.
Yes, she does that all the time.
That's funny.
Yep. Oh, and he okay, and apparently it's a big birthday thing for her. Like, okay, so like she texted me for Saxon, like for Saxon's birthday, and there was like a chocolate, a present, 2 people with a love heart, a parrot, a butterfly, and a dog. And then for me, it was the 2 persons doing the kissy thing, a present, a chocolate, a rose, and a butterfly. The present makes sense, I guess. I
don't know.
Don't give old people iPhones.
That's not very nice.
Well, then I have like I don't like, you don't understand how long it took for us to realize that they meant nothing. We actually spent a while trying to work it out. And then she calls me and she's like, I need help putting stuff from my phone into my computer. I'm like, you have a Windows computer. I can't help you. I have no idea how an iPhone interacts with a Windows computer. And I have this conversation with her about 10 times a year.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe I should just learn. But book.
Yes, book.
So yeah, so Claire finishes class and she goes to Common Grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay, why am I here? And then she bumps into Eve and she's like, hey. Well, she doesn't bump into Eve. She goes to Eve because Eve was like, come. So she's like, hi. And she's like, hi. And she's like, oh, I want you to meet Kim because she's super cool. And Claire is like jealous. Immediately jealous. But like Kim's a bitch. And like, the thing is though, right, as soon as you start reading like Kim's scene, you don't know if you think Kim is a bitch because Claire thinks like Claire's like, or if like it's because Kim's actually like, you know, like if Claire's reading too much into stuff or not, I guess.
Yeah.
But we find out that she's not reading too much into stuff.
Right.
Kim's awful. So Kim is playing Stella.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And she's like, they're super cool. And Claire's just like, well, okay, hi Kim, I'm going, bye. And she leaves.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, why? And she's like, because I'm busy, bye. And then she leaves.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Claire goes back to the glass house. Michael's there playing his guitar because, you know, it's Michael and it's a day that ends in Y. And she's like, Eve doesn't love me anymore. And he's like, why? And she's like, Kim. And he's like, oh, she's girl crushing on Kim because, like, Kim was like, like, thing. And Claire's like, this isn't helping me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no. Like, effectively, the speech he tries to give her is he's like, look, you know, like, it doesn't matter who, like, it doesn't matter who he looks at while he's out as long as he comes home to you. That's a speech that Michael gives to Claire. Doesn't matter what gets you going as long as you get going with me at the end of the day, it's fine. But yeah, Michael's like, but Kim's kind of a bitch. But then he's like, oh, did you know that she survived a vampire attack when she was homeless in 16? And apparently she killed the vamp that was trying to drain her. But yeah, so there's 2 humans in Morganville that have ever killed a vamp and gotten away with it. The other ones, so there's Kim and then there's Richard Morrell. And we're like, oh, Richard's killed a vampy vamp before. The mayor of Morganville.
Yep.
But yeah, like, Claire's being like, you know, really petty in the conversation about Kim. And then Shane gets home and she's like, you know, Eve stumped me for Kim. And Shane's like, oh, crap. Oh, yeah, no, like, I may or may not have done a bang on Kim before.
Yeah.
And Claire's like, which, like, you kind of got to, like, you feel for her, I guess. Like, especially, like, this is kind of like her first proper friend group. She's got her first boyfriend ever, and then her best friend's, like, fangirling over a chick who her boyfriend's banged.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's 17. She's a fresh 17. So you kind of, like, you allow, like, I allow it. It's fine. But yeah, so now it's Michael's got a show that he's playing because, you know, I don't think he gets described as heartbreakingly beautiful in this book, but he's got a heartbreakingly beautiful show to play. So it's time to get ready for it. And then Kim's there. Oh, and Pennywell, who was in last book. Okay, so this book establishes that Pennywell is indeed a man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Claire wasn't sure last book. I'm not going to lie. In my head, I kind of picture Pennywell as like Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Well, she's very androgynous. Like, it took a minute. Like, if they didn't tell me in the first scene she was in that she was a woman, I don't think I would have known.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
So Pennywell's like, oh, has Kim done a thing yet?
No, I don't think she has.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So Shannon and Claire are doing a thing and they're walking and Penny was like, you shall not pass. Oliver wants a word with you. And she's like, no. And then Kim's like, Shane Collins, is that you? And she runs over and starts making out with Shane. And Shane's like trying to do a thing and she's like, no, my Shane. And he's making out with him. And Claire's just like, WTF. And so this is where we're like, no, Kim's a bitch.
Yeah.
She's just straight up a bitch. And then Shane's like, this is my girlfriend. She's like, oh, that's nice. Anyway, Shane. And Claire's like, and Penny's like, I'm here and I'm trying to talk. And she's like, no. And then they're like, historian. And she's like, yeah, I'm filming the vamps in town. And then they watch half a show and then Claire gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
So Claire kidnapping number 1 for the book.
Yep.
She gets kidnapped by Pennywell after the show. It's after the show.
Yeah.
To go and talk to Oliver, I think, and then they're like, no, we can't let Claire go. And then Michael chases after them in his car and tries to cut off the limo, and they crash, and Claire almost dies, but she's fine.
Yeah. Also, hey, how's it going over on Twitch? We got said hi to on Twitch.
Oh, yeah, I don't have Twitch open because I suck, apparently. Hello.
It's okay. I have all the chats open.
Good. And yeah, and Ada's doing a weird thing. Honestly, there's so many little scenes in this. I think that's what makes it hard. There's so many little scenes and transitional scenes. You know what we need? We need recaptains or whatever the hell that website is to do all of it. We need her to do all the books we do.
You know what? I need to just take notes again. I'll start doing it again because I stopped doing it and I need to not do that. Because I got reliant on Addie to do it, but she doesn't do these book clubs. But I also was like, Addie will do it, and then she doesn't do these book clubs, so it's being unhelpful. I'm sorry. I'll start doing it again.
Because, like, I mean, I could say I'll do it, but like, I won't.
I mean, I was cleaning.
I won't.
See, the thing is that I've moved on with my life. I was cleaning the apartment while I was listening to this yesterday. So
you're a grown up now.
I'm a big kid now. And so yeah, like.
So when you said I'm a big kid now, I was waiting for like a little half giggle at the end because like that's the slogan for like Huggies pull-ups.
That's what I was running.
Okay. I'm a big kid now. I'm not doing the little half giggle. It's weird.
I did it. So just the demented like.
Oh, also I forgot to tell you as well. About half an hour after we got off, because after our stream the other day with Addie, my two children joined the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And about half an hour after, like I said bye, she was like, "Where'd they go?" I'm like, "Aww. They're gone." And she's like, "But where are they?" I'm like, "They're gone." And she's like, "Are they not in the computer anymore?" She still gets a bit confused as well because like when she's talking to someone on the phone as well, she's like, "What's that person doing in your phone?" Why? Or if we have to FaceTime Daddy, she's like, "Why is Daddy? You're in Mummy's phone. Like I thought you were at work." So she's still a little bit confused as to how it works.
Yeah.
But she's like, "Where'd they go?" I'm like, "They're gone." And she's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because they've got stuff to do." And she's like, "But why?" I'm like, "Because they've got stuff to do." "But why?" "Oh, but why?" She's finally hit her "but why" face.
Yeah.
And then she gets really mad at me when I like, "Oh, but why her?" So I'm hoping eventually she'll get the point of how annoying it is. Okay, so Claire stays at the glass house that night, and does anything interesting happen? Ada rocks up. Yeah, Ada rocks up, and she's like, "Come with me, man, I need you." But she doesn't, and she tries to kill Claire. I don't know. She sends like Claire goes through a portal, and it's like Vernon's failed experiment things. Trying to get Claire, and she's like, "Yeah, no," and then she like yeets and like gets out, and it's fine. And she's like, "I'm gonna have to talk to Vernon, I guess." And so she tells Vernon, he's like, "Oh, don't be ridiculous." And then, because Kim came over, that's right. And Kim's downstairs playing video games with Shane. And Claire's like, like that. Effectively, anytime Kim is in a scene, Claire's like, And they're like, "Well, so Michael, like, you caused a 2-car accident tonight. How do you feel about that?" He's like, "Look, I feel bad. Like, I feel bad that I almost got Claire killed, but it all worked out in the end." And he does his like whole press conference thing to the group. And then Kim leaves and Claire's like, good. And Eve's like, sad. And Shane's like, thank Christ. And Michael's like, look, the less drama, the better, please. And then it's the next day. And, oh, God. Okay. So Claire goes to school the next day, right? And she goes to Merton's lab after, after school. And she walks in and, okay, so he's wearing a big floppy black hat and a kind of crazy stylish pimp coat that covered him from neck to ankles, black leather gloves, and a black and silver walking stick with a dragon's head on it. And on his lapel was a button that said, "If you can read this, thank a teacher." This is one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, by the way. And he oh god, because I've got the book open. I just want to read this out because I don't know if you picked up on it. He's like, I didn't know you were coming today, and I assume this isn't just a random occurrence like gravity. Gravity isn't random. Oh, if you say so. Merton believes that gravity is a random occurrence.
Yeah.
One of the most brilliant minds. Yeah. Yeah. And then she was like, have you ever met a Kim? She's doing a thingy thing. And he's like, yeah, no, I don't, I'm not interested. It's fine. And so, yeah, she's going back through helping Merton sort his stuff out while Merton was making kissy faces to Bob the spider, which, yeah, okay. So then Claire goes to the vampire archives and she starts looking at the interviews that Kim's done. And so she gets to see like some of Michael's interview. And then we get to Oliver's.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's definitely not just like, assumption that he's Oliver Cromwell. He is
Oliver Cromwell.
Yep, same year of birth, same date of. Oh no, sorry. He's vampire. He was turned into a vampire in 1958, whereas I think he died in 1959, which makes sense because he said, I was turned into a vampire to try and keep my power that I couldn't end up keeping. Like it didn't work.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But and then Oliver's like, how dare you? Like real Oliver comes, he's like, how dare you do a thing? And she's like, I'm sorry, Oliver. And he's like, this was supposed to be destroyed. And then he destroys it. And then Kim walks in and she's like, how dare you do a thing? Oh no, what a shame. And he's like, there's more. And she's like, of course there's more. It's the digital age. And he's like, I suppose I should get to rehearsal. And Claire's like, you're in the play too. And she's like, of course I'm in the play. I do enjoy the acting. And then it's tutor time with Monica. So she's like, give me my money. Monica's like, okay, here's your money. And then it's like, okay, economics time. So then they do a tutor. And like, honestly, half the scenes with Monica, I swear they're just written just to put Monica in the book because it has nothing to do with the plot.
Yeah.
The Monica scenes have nothing to do with the plot. It's just to be like, hey, Monica's still a person. And why? Oh, and then her and even Shane and Claire are doing a date thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're like, let's go have, like, we'll do sandwiches and stuff. So then they're like, sandwich time. So they go and get food and they're on their way back home. And they find Morley comes running up to him. He's like, they're coming. And then he yeets. And then like human guys are coming. They're like, where's that vamp come? We're going to beat him up. And they've got like vampire fangs and stuff. And they're like, ah. And then they beat him up and they run. Like, not in a sexy way, beat them off. Like in a violent way, beat them off. And they're like, we must tell Emily. So then Emily comes and she's like, I'm displeased with this news. And like, I know. And then Claire goes home and Mum's like, there's food if you're hungry. I don't know, like be careful about Shane. And she was like, it's fine, Mum. I don't know. I'm. It's hard, but also when I'm reading through the book to try and work out what happens because I haven't.
I need to
don't know what's relevant.
We can honestly, I think we can just talk about it generally because there's at this point, like so much happens. It's like little stuff that So we can probably just talk about like the major plot and like what actually just happens. So
well, I guess the next major plot point is Kim's gone missing.
Yes.
So like, and Eve's like, we must find her, and Oliver's like, I don't care if she's missing. So then like, well, let's go to her place. So Claire, Shane, Eve, and Michael go to Kim's, and it's this pigsty. And Shane's like, I want to do the underwear drawer, and Claire's like, I can't believe you said that. And I'm like, I get it, but I also get Shane. I feel like that was just a normal human reaction. But then Claire spies a camera.
Yeah.
And they find Kim's computer, and they realize that she's put cameras up everywhere.
Yeah.
And including their house. And she's filming a thing, and they're like, well, fuck. They end up working out that she's working out of the old abandoned radio station.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael sneaks out of the house and goes with one of the friendly cop friends down there, and the rest are like, you're not leaving us behind. And then they're like, so then they go and they find the stuff. And okay, so she's put cameras in Michael's bedroom, Shane's bedroom, like I think a couple other places in the house, but in their rooms, pointed at their beds. And Claire and Shane have done Bang Bang since the cameras went up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like started to edit it all together, like, and she's planning on doing like a thing.
That's child pornography.
Yeah, I one thing I'm really, really upset about is not once in this book or ever in the series did they mention that it's child porn. Anything that had even if Claire and Shane didn't have sex, even if it was just a heavy makeout session, that's still child porn. Anything that's sexually suggestive of a minor or an under 18-year-old is child pornography. Child pornography could be a picture of a fully clothed teenager if they're posed incorrectly. But she has video of them having sex.
Yeah.
And it never gets mentioned.
Yep.
I mean, one thing Claire, because Claire was also really worried about it getting posted all over the internet or stuff like that as well. I'm it's fine. Because if the vampires don't kill her for filming them in secret, she will go to jail for a very long time if she posts
child pornography.
And because she'll get the charge of making the child porn, but then she'll also get another really, really, really big charge of widely distributing it. Yeah. It's fine. Claire, no one's gonna see your bang tape. It's fine. And so they split up to go all over town to try and take the cameras down. And Shane, Claire, and Eve come across Morley, and they work out he helped her in some way. I can't remember how, but he helped her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some of her hard drives because Mernon and Michael destroyed everything they could find, but there was some hard drives missing. He's got the rest of the hard drives, or a good chunk of the rest of the hard drives, and Kim herself. But Kim has been driven insane by Ada.
Yep.
Because Ada ain't happy, because Ada was helping her, but she's like, she wanted to destroy all of Morganville, and I am Morganville, and what would have happened to me? Oh no! So like so Ada drove Kim insane somehow. I don't know how. And Claire's like, Ada needs to be reset. So then they have to go reset Ada.
Yeah.
And they go to reset Ada, and it's really sad because when they reset her, Ada, because she got crazy because she was drinking Mernan's tainted, infected blood. Plus, also, I think spending over 100 years or whatever it is in the thing. I think she spent like 100 years in there. I don't know. The continuity on that is really up as well, because I think in 2 books it implies that Ada's been in there for less than 5 years.
Yeah.
But she hasn't. Like, it's been longer. But, so, like, Ada's suicides, and so there's no more Morganville security. Kim's being locked away. There will be no Morganville TV series. And does anything else of note? Oh, and then Claire and Eve end up being the leading ladies in the play.
Something like that.
Because Kim's out now.
Yeah.
And Oliver and Emily are starting to have a little bit more. There's something going on, like they're starting to come to a head a little bit because they united against Bishop, but now shit's starting to do a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's the book.
Yep, that's the book.
We didn't read it.
Oh. Oh yeah. Okay. Let me pull the thing up. Hold on.
Okay.
Where did I even put this? I don't even fucking know.
You had it open just the other day.
This is hard. The Mercy books are so much easier because they're just like those are so easy because it's just, and I don't know why.
Well, I think it's also because the Mercy books at least have every book is its own thing. That with like some have more ties to previous books than others, but they're still their own thing. Whereas some of these are their own thing. Some of these are like part 1 of 5. Because like the Bishop Saga books, there was like what three of them.
Yeah.
Like, but they were a thing. Like it was like part 1, part 2, and part 3. Whereas this one's like its own thing, and that kind of makes it hard to compare. Because we're comparing apples and oranges.
Like, I don't know.
Because like they're both fruit, but they're different. They're different fruit.
I guess this one's like, I don't know. They're all kind of messy. I don't know. Like,
okay. Start from the top and we'll say if we think it's better or worse. And
Feast of Fools is what we have ranked highest.
It's not as good as Feast of Fools.
Carpe Corpus.
I think I liked Carpe Corpus more, yeah.
Midnight Alley. I like Midnight Alley better. I know I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dead Girls Dance.
See, Dead Girls Dance and this one have 2 very similar complaints. Like, I think, like, that one I had the statutory rape is worse than the drugged up gang rape facet. And this one doesn't even address the child porn factor. Like, they both got the same.
Yeah.
Like, same genre of issue.
And then below Dead Girls Dance, we have Glass Houses and then Lord of Misrule.
I don't know. Do you have any clue?
I think I would put it below Glass Houses, but above Lord of Misrule.
Okay, we'll do that.
I think that's where I'm at. Like,
okay.
I think
The next one's a fun change because yeah, they leave town.
Okay, cool. So I was like, I don't know. It's hard. My life is hard. Okay.
God, I'm so.
Oh, we're checking shit off, but we still have so much stuff to do.
I know. Oh, guess what also is out? I think we've already, I think you already know this, but we're gonna have to do it.
What?
Save Your Sister.
Oh yeah, I've said that to you. But is the
there's no
audio
audio for it yet, though. No, not yet. Let's see if there's anything in the works for the audiobook. Give me a minute.
Yeah, Save Your Sister's been out for a hot minute, though.
Yeah. That's studio audio. Thank you. Just seeing if she's posted anything about the audiobook, like when that may be occurring. Okay, here we go. December 31st, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know, now you know. The Save Your Sister audiobook is in the works and soon to be released. I've been having a blast working with Emma Tigan, who is doing an amazing job voicing Leela's story. It's been so exciting listening to TSS come to life. Okay, so at some point soon.
Cool. We'll do it when we have an audiobook, because I'm not reading it. Because when we did the Savior's Champion, I absorbed absolutely nothing that happened.
Yeah, the thing is, though, like, because I'm not gonna, as much as I don't want to, I think I'm gonna have to re-listen to, not re-listen. I think I'm gonna have to listen to Savior's Champion before Save Your Sister, because I need the refresher. But I don't like his voice.
I hate his voice.
He's got such a thick accent. Like, it makes sense that he's got that kind of accent as well, but it's not the easiest accent to. I'm not going to be able to double speed that shit. I don't even think I'm going to be able to 1.5 speed it.
Yeah, that's what's.
And it's so long.
That's what hurts my soul. It's so unnecessary. It is so unnecessarily long, and
but I don't think I'm going to be able to speed up the audiobook at all.
I don't either. And the thing is, I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to listen to the audiobook.
I think I'm gonna have to. I think I might actually have to just read it again.
My problem is that me reading it is just as good as not reading it at all.
Okay, well, because for that one though, it's like the rereading of Savior's Champion is more like a refresher. So hopefully, if I reread it and you're like, I don't understand how this, what happens in relation to this, because Save Your Sister runs concurrently with Savior's Champion, which is especially why I want to reread it. But mayhaps me rereading that will be enough.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, because it's not a sequel. It's a
concurrent.
It's a companion novel.
It's. I mean, there are questions I need answered. I need to have, even if you were like, no, I refuse, and you rage quit, I'm going to have to read it anyway, because I need to know some stuff.
My hope, though, is that I don't come away from it or at least my hope is that after we do this, if there's a sequel or something, they don't get re-answered in the sequel.
Thanks for putting that thought in my head. I wasn't even thinking about that possibility.
It's a possibility.
I don't want it to be, though.
Because, like, there is another book coming out, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be at least a trilogy.
Is it a trilogy? Is that it? Like,
I'm pretty sure there's going to be at least 3.
Okay.
Wait, let's see. Are we ever going to get... She doesn't even have Eve on her website anymore.
She doesn't?
No, when you go to books, it just has Savior's Sisters and Savior's Sister and Savior's Champion. It does not mention Eve the Awakening. You can't do that to us. It's rude.
But that was the better book.
Minus the dildo flash drives.
Yeah, but... Huh. Because she used to have Eve merch stuff.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Okay, real quick. I'm just going to check something. YouTube.
Okay.
I'm going to check if she took down... I'm going to check to see if she took down the videos about it. She took down her... Did she take down her videos about it?
No, she can't have.
Hold on, I'm searching her channel. Well, she has videos with it in it, but like... I can't find the one where she like announces that book.
No. You can't just pretend that your thing doesn't exist. Playlist. There's no playlist for it.
One moment.
When did Eve get released?
She took it off Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah, she's gotten rid of all of her Strictly Eve videos. So I imagine there's just going to be like when there's references to Eve in one of her other videos, those will still be there, but all the actual Eve related videos are gone.
Yeah, the listing for this book is like, it's literally just people reselling it.
Okay, so if you search Eve, you can still
find it on the website. It's buried in the website.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not. But if you hit like buy on Amazon, that Amazon page no longer exists.
What happened, Jenna? Maybe she saw our stream. Wait, what's the Goodreads? Goodreads. Oh, it's like 3.5 stars on Goodreads. that might be why. But you can't like that. Like she was earning beyond a living wage from that book.
Yeah.
Like she was getting a wage, effectively, from that book. So I don't think it, there were all of the problems with it, for sure. But I'm not going to lie, it really annoys me when authors just try and pretend like one of their books don't exist. Like, I'm also annoyed with the cast about pretending the digesters don't exist. Yeah, like, the publisher wouldn't, like, publish any more of them. Fine, but the book still exists.
Yeah.
Oh, when do we know when their next PC cast? When's the next duo book coming out?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
That is just so interesting to me.
May.
May.
Yeah. Oh, and we've actually got a description for it. So all we knew was it was Sisters of Salem series.
Yeah.
It's got a cover.
Oh, what's the cover?
It's called Spells Trouble. Go to PC's website. But the first book is Spells Trouble. Oh no. Okay, all I need from you is to go to like the Spells Trouble page on her website and just read the italicized first part of like the description.
Double twin spell trouble.
I already know it's going to be awful just from that.
Hunter and Mercy Good are twin witches, direct descendants of the founder of their town, Goodyville. As their ancestors have done before them, it is now time for the twins to learn what it means to be gatekeepers, the protectors of the gates to different underworlds, ancient portals between their world and realms where mythology rules and nightmares come to life. When their mother becomes the first victim in a string of murders, the devastated sisters...
Hunter is a girl. Carry on.
The devastated brother and sister vowed to avenge her death. But it will take more than magic to rein in the ancient mythological monsters who have infected their peaceful town. Now, Hunter and Mercy must come together and accept their destiny or risk being separated for good. E.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit confused as well when I first read Hunter, because I'm like, Hunter's a boy's name, and I don't see them writing like a male, like it's called Sisters of Salem.
I hate that trope. I'm sorry. I know that it's a thing that happens, but
look, there are some names, right, that can work for like male names that work for a girl. Like my daughter's name is traditionally a man's name.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's also names like Addison. Addison is a man's name.
I didn't know that.
It means son of Adam.
Oh.
And Stixie used to work with a guy named Addison. Madison is a man's name.
Yeah, I've met
traditionally.
Yeah.
But some of them, some work. I mean, like then there's Blake Lively, who her name's Blake, but then she's also got a daughter named James, which is just weird.
Yeah.
But then when you pick one of the like the more like, because Hunter, well, like if you hear someone calling their kid Hunter, you automatically know that like they're doing a thing to try and be a bit different, because Hunter is not a traditional name. But then to take a non-traditional man's name and give it to a girl. because again, like there's some names that can work, like Parker. Parker is more of a boy's name, but like if you hear of a girl named Parker, it's not too weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I've just been tainted because I've watched a show that has a female Parker on it, like when I was way younger.
I know that, like, that's not that weird.
Like, Peyton is a man's name, but it's often used as girls' names too. Like, so you can still go for like a non, like a bit more of a different name that is traditionally male and still give it to a female, and it works. But Hunter, I don't think we're there with Hunter yet. And I don't feel like we should ever be there. Hunter just sounds like a man.
Yeah.
It's like how Stacy can be a man's name in the US. I
disagree with that. It's weird.
Thank you. I'm glad that you agree that it's weird.
I know a man named Stacy.
There are many no man should be named Stacy.
But anyway, next week we're finishing off Soul Screamers.
How do you feel about that?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah. But I also feel like I don't need to read the book to know what happens. I feel like it's going to be a whole lot more of the same.
We get a new Hellion. And have fun listening to his voice.
Great. Awesome. Yippee. So with that, we will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.